Ta-da! What's happening out there in YouTube land? Rockin' Dave, North Fort Myers, Southwest Florida. Ta-da! Let me get my glasses on so I can see where I've been. Thank you so much, my friends. Rockin Ibanez, doing a little shredding there. I've had people ask me, how do I get my picking hand so fast? And really, it comes from a lot of years of working on picking exercises, quads, I call them. You know, picking each note 4 times. And that's why I could play so fast on an acoustic guitar. But basically, what it is you're doing something like this. You know, you could do it anywhere, but you know, let's see. You know, I don't know where it began, right? Not really difficult. I mean, if you spend the last 30, 35 years literally doing this, I think at some point things are gonna click. I just want to say, David Enos, how are you, my friends? Bumble Best, how are you? Give some shout outs to some good people we got out there. I gotta take me a little seat. And I'll adjust the camera. Don't want to knock stuff down. I'm great at doing that. Oh, wrong hand, right? Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you. 9 Phantoms, what's happening, my friend? Let's see. There we go. And thank you for tuning in earlier at, you know, doing that video at the Michael Kelly Telecaster at a great music store down here in Cape Coral called Educators Music. The owner is this absolutely really cool guy. Great people that work there. He just allowed me to come in and to do that. And I was plugged into the Fender Super Champ ×2. Mr. Ben Coombs, what is happening, my friend? Hope you check out that video with the Michael Kelly Telecaster. And I was running it through the Fender Super Champ. I call it ×2. Some people call it X2. Groovy, how you doing? It's yeah, it's I basically what I did is I just ran into a clean channel, and then, you know, because that's a 2-channel amp, and let's see, and what I did was just had the gain at number 5 and the volume at number 5. The amp setting, because it's got like 16 different voices, I had it on number 6, and I believe that's more of the Fender Twin type. But man, I'll tell you what, nothing beats that Fender Tube Clean sound, man. It's just great. And it's just, you know, people have said that that amp only has power amp tubes. No, it does have two V6 power amp tubes, but it does reconnected, my friend. This is great. Yeah, we're in our stormy season down here. Again, welcome to Florida, home of the hurricanes and the lightning. We have a lot of lightning storms down here. But yeah, let's see. Make a change to my custom tell you. Oh, nice, Ben. Nice. You know, when you check out that video, what you're going to notice, Ben, and everyone that checks out that video, the Michael Kelly, you know, reconnecting. Okay, yes. So if I were to take my phone outside, it's like dark because we are having some storms. Okay, no video here. Okay. Looks like I'm still recording. Excellent, we're back. You know, we get some storms down here, and it does mess with the interference and everything, you know. Okay, so yeah. Big Dan Hall, how are you, sir? JJ Collins, how are you? Nice to be back. Make sure I'm not like scrambled, you know, like the digitally scrambled, you know, my eyeball is here and my nose is over there, you know. I guess it's the part of doing business, right? Yeah, that is the Fender sound on my Digitech, the overdrive with the Fender amp and the Univibe effect. How I get the yeah, I've gone lefty, my friend. Hey Sonia, how are you? I've definitely gone lefty. See that? I'll tell you what, I'm gonna change my name to Bob so that if you see my name, no matter which way, Bob backwards still spells Bob. So yeah, YouTube is still having its issues, but that's okay. I think we could live with that, right? So yeah, but anyways, so we go to this place and okay, let me. So I have my Univibe effect, and how I get this effect to have this type of even with the overdrive. What I like about this pedal is that you could rearrange your effects into the effect chain. So anytime I'm using the Univibe effect on this, I have it where it has to go through the distortion and go through the amp to get as close to what Hendrix had, that type of a sound, because the amps back then really did not have effect loops. So that's how I get, close to that sound. So anyways, but anything like that, like for instance my harmonizer, I have it where it'd be like going through the effects loop, Sax on, how are you, my friend? Now, with the flanger here, what I did is I got the flanger. Let's see. Sorry about that, guys. I got the flanger. Yeah, the flanger is going through the distortion and into the front of the amp on this setting. So. To get as close to that, it's supposed to simulate an MXR flanger. Doesn't do too bad of a job, I must say. And I am running all this into the Roland BA330 power amp, which power speaker, which I got underneath there. So, yeah. Great little guitar. Very happy with it. Very happy with what Ibanez has been doing for over the years. And I know we got some friends. We got fans of Ibanez, and you got some people that are not big fans of Ibanez. But that's okay. But again, the reason why I'm going to keep it like these days with or this day on Wednesday with the Rockin Ibanez, because it's not to brown nose anybody. Artist, and I've gone through, I want to say, at least 15 different Ibanez guitars, trading in and all that. I've had a lot of guitars. I've had about 100 guitars since I've started playing in '74, and then right now I think we were up to 20 guitars, or 21. So it's our our little collection there. But here's something really interesting. And okay, because this guitar only has one volume and one tone, so if I wanted to simulate like a hollow body guitar, the old trick is just to turn your tone knob down, and then if you have the pickup for the neck pickup, do you use, let's see, Bumble Best asks, let's see if I get this back up here. Sorry about that. Do you only use one PA speaker live? If so, why not two for stereo effects? Okay, it depends on the size of the space. Usually we are using two. Sometimes we're using three. And when we have the space like at the Blue Monkey, we'll actually use two. And there's one you see behind us, but we have another one off to the side. So, okay, so picture this. Here's our stage, and out there's the audience. And the way the room is, it kind of goes like this. So this speaker here, it's going kind of straight to get these people, but the one that's over here, it kind of doubles as our monitor, plus it's shooting for the people out there. And we really don't get too much of a cross interference. I notice if they leave the TV on, everything's on that circuit. Sometimes I'll get weird tones. But other than that, you know, yeah, I agree. We try to get that nice full big stereo effect. 15 Ibanez. Oh yeah. Well, see, you know, Groovy Girl, this is over the years. Right now, I do have. Let's see, one. My blue Ibanez. I got 5 Ibanez guitars right now. 3 of them are acoustic. 1 of them is a 12-string. And then I have, you know, this one, which this guitar is super comfortable, man. They call this the RGA, and it's slightly different, thinner. It has these little like contours, and then here's your RG series. This one I actually found in a dumpster. I think you know, told you guys that story. But you see, this one has the Ibanez Edge, and I was at a place called DW Music, which is literally down the street from us, and that place specializes in guitar parts, and they're world renowned. They send parts everywhere. And but I was talking with the guy there. I says, listen, you know, he was under the impression that the Ibanez, the original Ibanez, was like the Floyd Rose, and I have to kind of look back, but I do remember the transitions that they were doing with their whammy system. But like in the 90s, and you know, into the 2000s, and that their bridges where the tuners are here, but you know, where you go to unloosen the saddles, the screws are here. So this really is their Ibanez Edge trem system. Okay, low profile. They got some of the super low and that. But see, this is on their newer ones, even on their Prestige. So here you have your tuners right here, but to to loosen the strings from the saddles, you got the screws right here, just like on a Floyd. So I don't know, maybe something's going on, and they've got license from Floyd Rose to help on costs, to maybe bring the price down. Because honestly, guys, there is something that is going on in the guitar. Okay, let's see. I think I'm sorry, I'm missing some of this. I think I've had 4 or 5 Ibanez over the years, none current. You know, again, people are always welcome to their opinions on. You know, I thought it'd be kind of a good idea to start maybe doing something, you know, about the company, because if you really think about it, I remember this. I remember when Dean guitars went away. And now Dean guitars are back, and Dean makes great guitars. I do remember when Kramer guitars disappeared. BC Rich is going all over the place, and I love our BC Rich Warlocks. We got this and a bass guitar as well, and a few other guitar companies that would come and go. But Ibanez, they've seemed to be rock solid right from the get go, and maybe the best thing that happened to that company is when Gibson sued them, because it literally forced them to branch off on their own. Still miss my Ibanez Jet King, yeah. R2R3 locking up. Yep, rock on, man. I did say Dean guitars, and Dean guitars were great. I had little Baby Z, Dean Baby Z guitar, but it was stripped down. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I know when I was living in Chicago, an R2R3 locking up, since you're in the Chicagoland area, in the city of Chicago, there's a street called Ravenswood, and it was literally, they had a warehouse that was, Ravenswood was a few blocks west of Irving Park Road, right from the high school I went to. I went to Lakeview High School, on the corner of Ashland and Irving. So actually, it'd be a few blocks west of Ashland Avenue. So, Dean's and one BC Rich as well. Yeah, I mean, they're great guitars. They're all making great guitars, you know. But something was happening with these companies where they're disappearing and then reappearing, like MXR, Jim Dunlop now has MXR, Jim Dunlop has the Crybaby Wah. And one of these days I'll bust out my Crybaby Wah pedal, and you'll see on the back of it, it'll say Thomas International from Chicago, Illinois, because that's originally where they were built from. And It's old pedal. I have to, I guess, spray the pots because it's all, from the years. I bought that wah pedal from a friend of mine, Joe Magdaleno, Jose Anthony Magdaleno, and he used to joke that if you his initials were JAM, Jam. And he was a good guitar player. So I bought it from him in high school. Let's see, was I a sophomore? So it'd be in 1979, and something like that. Yeah, 1979. And he bought it from his teacher, who bought it from somebody else. So God knows how old the thing really is, But getting back with the Ibanez Guitar Company, that they never shut down. You know what I mean? And then disappeared. Now, LTD, ESP guitars. I remember when they were coming out. And, or I remember when I first saw them at Guitar Plus or Guitar Shack. That was down the street from Guitar Center in Chicago on Clark Street after they shut down the, the Milwaukee Avenue store. Hey, Joe Wentz, the Joe Wentz Project, my friend, it's always good seeing you. Oh man, Joe, you're a rocker, big time, man. Absolutely, big time. And Joe's got the Ibanez Gem. And he's got the same type of tremola, But boy, I tell you what, Joe, I almost bought that same Gem, the exact same finish, man. And man, it was nice. It was nice. And then I was even looking at the 8-string. And then the blue Ibanez, which it's not the Prestige, but it's exactly like what EG or EJ Guitars has, and I think Mitch Heyman. That it's a blue one with the maple fretboard. It's like a ocean blue sunburst, and the back is like an ash body, but real light wood. And then with the colored headstock. But the one I was going to get was not a Prestige. But it was identical to it. So I basically had about 3 or 4 guitars lined up when I was at Guitar Center. And then for some strange reason I saw this and I said, all right, let's go ahead and check this out. And as soon as I picked it up, man, it just felt comfortable to me. So that doesn't mean one's better than the other, It's whatever works for you, whatever's the most comfortable. But that Gem is nice. That Gem Junior is nice. And I think, Joe, you mentioned you wanted like the yellow one, which would be really cool. Now they got a pink version, so let's see if they come out with a green or a yellow version, They just might do that. Who knows, Paul Reed Smith? Yeah. Paul Reed Smith is awesome. Deb just said, look at the stash. I got all these little coffee things. I bought them out. I even went behind at the grocery store, behind in the back, and got the coffee beans, took my shoes off and stepped on the beans. Oh yeah, you gotta enjoy life, right? Let's see, I just hate the birds on the fretboard. Okay, yeah. Here's the thing. I'm sure if you wanted to get them custom, you know what? Here's the thing. If anyone wants anything customized, it's always money. So, here's something that's interesting. Okay, I gotta watch mine. This is not a Paul Reed Smith. This happens to be a Gibson Epiphone. This is the 1988 Spotlight guitar, 87, 88, and I've never seen one in this finish. And it is a neck through, and it is a USA made. This is the only year that they came out with this, because, and then I think it was Paul Reed Smith that sued him, because I mean it looks just like a Paul Reed Smith, These are not the original pickups. I found something out about these pickups. I think they're called rail hammers. But boy, I tell you what, I really thought they were Bill Lawrence pickups, because Bill Lawrence pickups back in the day had that same type of a setup. It's a great sounding guitar. Absolutely, yeah. Thanks, Nine Phantoms. It's a beautiful guitar. We got it for a great price. We bought it at that music store that I spotlighted the Michael Kelly Telly at today. And so yeah. But what's nice with this, I do like, they call that what, Dragon's Eye Burst. The flat matte finish, because down here in Florida it gets hot. But, it gets hot anywhere. Summertime, it's hot. Doesn't matter where you're at. And if you sweat a lot, see, back in the day we didn't have that. BRB. Yeah. You know what? Back in the day, you had the lacquer on the guitar. Good luck. We dealt with it. But today, if you don't have to work too hard for it, I mean, I should say work hard, but if you don't have to kill yourself, why, not? Oh, okay. So here's what happened today. Okay, so this was really strange, and this was a strange. It was strange in a very great way. One of the places that we've been trying to get in, I always do this 3 times, like baseball, 3 strikes you out. And we're polite, and we give people, space in between, because I never want to bother anybody, because I know what it's like, when you're busy. Well, yesterday I dropped off, actually, this was the card I dropped off. It was Bad Boys. And when I dropped it off, the lady, she looked at it, and I go, wow, that's pretty cool, And I told her what we do, and blah, blah, blah. Okay, yeah, that'd be awesome. But the lady that's the owner, she's the one doing the bookings, and she's not here. She'll be here tomorrow, meaning today. So I go back there, and then now all of a sudden she's not interested. Before she was, and she's not. And it's like, okay. At some point you get tired of the games. So her place is literally right around the corner from the music store where I was at. And the music store has a cafe. You can do live performances there. So I'm sitting there, and I thought the place opened up at 11, the music store, and I forgot, they opened up at 12. So I got over there about quarter to 12, sat there, looked at some of the YouTube, and then I'm thinking about this. I thought, this does cost money to get these printed out, right? So I'm sitting in the car thinking, why not? Okay, guys, we're back on, and make sure that we're back on. I hope we're back on. I mean, I see myself, and start back up. Why not? Yeah. Sorry about that, guys. We're in our stormy season down here, approaching hurricane season. But let's hope we have better luck with hurricanes this year than last year. Okay, so I'm sitting in the car thinking about this costs money, right, to get it printed up. And if the lady's not interested, that's fine. I never take things personal. You can't. You really can't. You got to have thick skin in this business or any other business, So I thought, okay, I'm going to go back over there, and I'm going to just let the lady know that, okay, that's fine. I went back in there, and I said to her, I need to see that card that I left, that dropped off yesterday. Maybe there's a mistake in the printing or whatever. Okay, so she gives me the card, and then after she gave me it, said, miss, I appreciate, your time, but I'm no longer interested in playing here. And I said that if what I do is not conducive to what what you have, then we cannot do business. So I'm not interested in playing at your place. She had the look like she was stunned, because it's like no one has ever said that to her. And the only reason I said it, and I said it with respect, and I said, so you have a great day. And I started walking away, and I saw the expression on her face, and it's just, okay, that's fine. But at some point, if a person's going to be playing games with me, I cannot do business with that person. That's fine. I lay my cards out on the table. I wish that they would. So she played the game like I got to crawl and beg and cry, and I'm not going to do that. So it was kind of shocking that, someone actually said, hey, I'm not interested in you now. Bye. And sometimes you have to be that way. And it's not meant to be, a rude person or anything like that. You just go move on forward in that. What's really cool is all the other gigs that we've been getting down here. Plus there's more we're working on, and life goes on, and we're really having a great time down here doing this. And I've seemed to be using this a lot, because it's been very, very... Who are my influences? Okay, Nine Phantoms asked me who are my influences. Let's see. I'm sorry, guys. I'm gonna let's see. We got some comments now. Yes, rain knocks my internet out too. Yeah, Bumble Bassett really does. Let's see. I decided years after trading my Ibanez that. Okay. Do. Okay. Oh, when I got a gem, it's gonna be truly outrageous. Oh, when I get one, plus 100. Yeah. All right. So Nine Phantoms asked me who are my influences. I have a lot. I have a lot of influences because I started playing in 1974, and I started at a time where, we had AM radio, and FM radio was like, underground. Um, but as a guitarist, um, I love the Shredders. I like people like, um, oh, okay, Sonia. Yeah, later, Sonia. Sonia's our good friend Sonia is she's she's getting off chat. Yeah, Sonia. Yeah, you're a good gal, Sonia. Thank you so much. Um, I like guitar players like Robin Trower, and of course Jimi Hendrix, Stevie Ray Vaughan. I seen Stevie Ray Vaughan for free at the 1984 Chicago Blues Fest. That was awesome. Ingve, I like this guy Rusty Cooley. Um, and I do like Carlos Santana. Ben Coombs, you're back, my friend. Thank you so much. Uh, you know, let's see, BB King. Um, but the guy that really influenced me absolutely the most was Al Di Meola, jazz fusion guitarist Al Di Meola. Um, he just had, and he still continues to have, very strong melodic playing, and he's like the godfather of shred. Um, there's a CD or album called Friday Night in San Francisco, and it's all acoustic, but it's like shred acoustic, but very melodic. And him, it's Al Di Meola, John McLaughlin, and Paco de Lucia from Spain. And in 1983, I've seen the Super Guitar Trio with guest Steve Morse, and Steve Morse is another great guitarist. And man, I was watching Paco de Lucia's fingers because he doesn't use a pick, and it's just his playing is literally, I mean, like unbelievably fast. Um, but Al Di Meola has got real strong picking dynamics, and it's not the fact that he could play fast. When you see him live, or especially back then, you see him live, you felt those notes very strong and solid. I mean, it was like okay, it was the equivalent of doing a heavy pounding. You play drums, a guitar like a drummer, yeah. Um, that's how you got such solid sense of time, you know. So, but at the same time, I love my metal and I love my blues rock and classical guitar. We've joined Guitar Foundation of America back in 2003, I believe it is, and we've been members ever since. And I think on Sundays I might try to do this, where I'm doing more classical guitar pieces and spotlighting, that side of me, that style. Um, in the classical guitar world, you got Pepe Romero, you got, of course, Andres Segovia, um, you got Christopher Parkening, John Williams, uh, Manuel Baruco, you've got Anna Vidovic, Sharon Isbin. I mean, there's a whole list of incredible guitar players. It's unbelievable. But it's a different world. So, but if I were to nail it really down to just one person that really, and of course Eddie Van Halen, that he blew down the doors, man, when Van Halen 1 came out and Eruption came out, uh, where people thought that disco was just going to be, I gotta say, here to stay or taking over guitar music. Eddie Van Halen came down with that style and just, man, blew the doors down. But to be fair about it, a lot of the bands that were playing disco. You know, you had Cool and the Gang. Um, you had Atlanta. Let's see, Atlanta Star, and a few other places, if I can remember correctly. There was a lot of really good musicianship, and what it was dance music, but it was borrowing from the jazz fusion era that was going on at that time. So I hope that kind of answers your question. But Al Di Meola, if I were to say name it down just to really one person, it'd be Al Di Meola, because he's got a strong sense of melody, great rhythm, great compositional skills, um, you know, great string bending. Um, you know, his rhythm chops is basically kind of like doing this. You know, if I could get my that's really where I got that from. That's syncopated. I mean, we're all familiar with so that type of a funk rhythm, but his is more like syncopated. That comes from a lot of like Latin jazz, and you know, with melodies like so a lot of that is based off of that. And then there's guitar players like Richie Blackmore, Paul Gilbert, and there's a lot of you guys out there that might watch you play. You do something, even if you think you can't shred or whatever the case might be, you'll play a certain phrase that will spark an interest. So that's why I like watching. Yeah, you have so many influences who it's really hard to pick just one. Honestly, it really is. Paul, how are you, my friend? Now I did see, but I think some people will take down their live chat down, and that's fine if it saves them time or whatever. But I thought Sonia was live last night, and of course I missed it, and I missed Ben Coombs live this afternoon. Ben, you went live the exact same time I was at the music store recording, and with that Telecaster and that little Fender. All right, we're back again. Arvon Grant, how are you? Good seeing you. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly, Arvon. Sometimes I have hard times with pronunciations. That's my fault. Sorry about that. But yeah, if there's dropouts, I apologize about that, guys. We got some bad storm clouds going. You can see I'm live every day. Yeah, I like that. That's a great idea, Ben. That's a great idea. This is a great community we have, and I saw. Now this was a while back, and of course today there's a guy, Rick Beato, was he's either him or somebody else said something about there was a troll and they had to kind of get rid of him, and okay, things happen. And but I've seen let's see, I'm sorry about that. Let's see, I've been pretty much going live on the acoustic the last few times. This is let's see, yeah, 9 Phantoms. Few times just doing campfire type stuff. Yeah, you don't have to be a supersonic shredder to actually be good. You really don't. Because at the end of the day, see, the shredding, it's fun. Okay, don't get me wrong. It's very fun to be able to do. Nope, wait a minute. I forgot to turn my tone down. It's fun. But there's nothing like or just something, or just working with Mike Michael, my vocalist with RUI. I mean, because he's more interested in a lot of southern and classic rock and blues and country stuff. It's kind of open doors for me. And when I'm playing with him, there's certain things I have to do to fit the chord progressions. So it makes me think different, and kind of gives me a break, you know. Everyone brings something to the table. Absolutely, everyone really does. You know, if you were to put 10 guitar players in a room and have them play the same lick, it would still sound slightly different. You know what I mean? You'd be able to hear their personality, and then go and say, okay, now just go do what you do, and then watch and see just what does really, you know, what happens. It's like the doors of creativity start to really open up. Sorry, guys. Wet my whistle. But when I'm, you know, doing stuff with Mike, and if let's say we're doing, you know, stuff that's like, okay, simple, a D, C add 9, and G. My perception, if I have to do a solo, because a lot of these songs, you know, I really don't know them all the way, like deep, as far as this solo and that solo. So what I do is I look at the chord progression, and I know I've got a D, and if I want to go into a D to a G, I have a G right there. But a lot of times what I'll do is I'll arpeggiate that D. So, you know, your D major, and then add notes around it. I think there's a song we do when the sun goes down. You know? So when I'm soloing in this area, that's basically what I'm doing. Taking that D major chord shape, but down here, it's really A major. Now, if you want it to be A major with the root, you'd have to play it like this because that's the root. But if you minus that root, there's your octave. And I play the notes around it. Then what I'll do is I pop my strings. That's what I like about this guitar. For some strange reason, this is all stock pickups. Nothing is zooped up or anything. The bridge pickup, when you put it in that coil tap fade or position, you get a real nice strat sound. So if I'm going to do like a popping, you know, it just has that. And then when I add my overdrive, you know, so basically it's just that D major chord shape. Sometimes you just hold that note, a little slide. There's so much expression. So you don't have to be a supersonic shredder, you know, to actually sound good. And in my opinion, I like to have a variety of everything. If that makes sense to everyone. Yeah, coil tap and out of phase. You know, Ben, one of these days I'll, you know, do a little bit more spotlighting on my Gibson Les Paul, because it's got the coil tap, but on the neck pickup, the tone pot pulls out for that out of phase. And I'm sure you can remember, and I know your dad will remember, some of the old Gibsons, you had that big rotary switch. It would set the pickups out of phase. When we got that Les Paul, we almost bought, I was kind of thinking about buying the Gary Moore model. And I thought, okay, but I like the sound that I'm getting out of this. I might not get that sound out of that Gary Moore. So that's why I got the one I got. And, you know, Gary Moore's a great guitar player. And I mean, but honestly, for myself personally, I've never been really big on buying, how can I say, signature model guitars. Although my friend's old 1979 Ibanez Paul Stanley, that Iceman he had was great, man. Ooh, that was nice. But I don't know. I'm not saying I'm egotistical or anything like that. But I certainly don't want to come across like that at all. Yeah, tone dial on the 345s. That's right. And when I pull out my old Gibson catalog, you'll see them. They'll have that rotary switch. But for me personally, as a guitarist, I'm me. That's all I am, you know. And so I've always had my own how can I say, my own perception of things. When I would play covers, when I was learning how to do covers and guitar solos, every time I would look at a guitar solo, and just like a lot of you out there, you kind of fudge around with it. Okay, you got to work on the technique, and you kind of loop a certain pattern. What would happen with me? I would look at all these different options, and the next thing you know, just boom, ideas would they just come out of my head. And next thing you know, I'm taking that same guitar solo, that riff, and it's going like a million miles away from it, and all these ideas will spark. And then that's how I started writing my own music. And it's, you ask a lot of guitar players, they would really prefer playing their own music. Tasty notes, speak them all. Yeah, you're right, Joe. They really do, man. They really do. That's what gets you the emotion. The shredding, it's like it builds up. That's your crescendo. It builds up to it. But when you get to that point where, let's say, you're doing something like this, I think that grabs a person more than it's, how can I say, when you hit that note with that vibrato, and you just hit that note right there with as much emotion as possible, that's what punches a person in the gut. Now, for me personally, since I got 9s on this guitar, I am so used to 11s because they're not as wobbly. But it seems to work because I think this has a little bit longer scale, and that's why it's almost balanced now. I kind of say this. This is almost not like 9s, but maybe 9.5 gauge strings, if that makes sense. And with the electric guitar, you have, with the overdrive, of course, you have that overtone. So even with the layoff. But when I'm doing with my acoustic, it seems to me I have more of an impact when I'm doing the shredding on the acoustic, because the steel string, and especially the nylon string, because it's more of a percussive type of an impact. And like I said, if you listen to Friday Night in San Francisco, Al Di Meola, Paco de Lucia, and John McLaughlin, you'll hear exactly what I'm talking about with those scale runs where it's like the notes are just punching you in the gut. But still, you gotta have some sort of melody, otherwise it'll burn your ears out real fast. Somewhere around here, I have a cassette tape. When I had after I traded my Ibanez Artist, I traded for the Ibanez Destroyer, and it was their X series. It's called the X series model guitars. That they came out in I want to say 1984, because it was a spin-off of like the Phil Collins model, and of course there was early versions of the Ibanez Destroyer in the early 80s. But I've got a cassette tape where I'm just constantly ripping. I mean, super fast. I couldn't believe when I listened to playback that was actually me playing that fast. And I kept listening to the playback, and I kept thinking to myself, but there's something that's missing. What it was that was missing was my whole notes, and basically just the fact that you have that, just that one hold, just bending that note and holding that note. And letting the note drop, and a choke bend. Or another thing that's really very expressive is bending the note and then hitting it and then letting the note fall. And a little vibrato. Now, what I do miss about going straight into the amp and bypassing the digital stuff is that we used to be able to do this, and with the tube amps too. Dirty up the amp and then rolling your volume down to clean it up, and then when you bring up the volume, it's like the amp opens up. You got so much more expression with that. And then when you're right by the amp, or if it's loud enough to get in that the sustained feedback. There's just so much that was like you could do that. Some of this other stuff, it's you can't do. Shane from In the Blues made a comment about the Kemper. The Kemper, great, and you could just model your amp. But the thing that you'll miss out of that is the actual oomph of the amp behind you. That's what's missed, and it does make a difference. It'll make you actually play a little bit differently because it's that extra little flavor there. But that being said, the technology that we have is just unbelievable, totally unbelievable. And just like these guitars, I think I got this for like 3 something. Okay, let's see. You should concentrate on music for a movie. Oh, you know what, Sean? I'm glad you mentioned that. I'm gonna read some of these comments. Old man Dan, how are you, my friend? Let's see. This is real. I like having the wall of sound behind me. Yeah, Nine Phantom. There's nothing like it. I don't know if you guys ever, and I'm gonna get back with your comment there, Sean, because there's something real interesting with that. But a friend of mine worked at Guitar Center when it was on Milwaukee Avenue, and this had been about maybe 1984, 1985, and they had 5 Marshall stacks slaved to each other. And he says, Dave, you know what it sounds like when you got this cranked up? He said, just play a chord. Hey. And I swear, man, it didn't even sound like a chord. It was just this massive sound, and you could feel the vibration. You could feel your clothes moving, and your hair, and the ground just rumble, because it was massively loud. So we all know how loud Yngwie is, and but that's his thing, But at some point it's too much sound, but there really is nothing like it. Nothing at all. It's like if you go to a bike fest and all the Harleys are there just revving up, man. You just feel that muscle, Now, there is a nice comment here. Let's see. Oh yeah, tinnitus. Yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah, you don't want that. Tinnitus. Now there was a comment here. So, you should concentrate on music for movies. I have done a couple of because I have a guitar synth, and I could create all those nice synth pads and add melodies to that. And there was a couple of kids that were college students in California. We would send them that. And another thing that really, growing up as a kid, I was always exposed to was motion picture soundtrack. So that's why I have a love for instrumental music and classical music as well, because if you close your eyes, it depicts something, and this is why instrumental music works so well. It's like expression of emotion. Now shredding is fun, and it does depict emotion. It's the emotion of excitement. It can be the emotion of anger, but mostly excitement and just we're traveling, we're fast, we're moving. But there are times when nothing will have more of an impact than something as subtle as just one note. And a little bend. Especially on a nylon string guitar. Anti-shred Dan. If a person were to tell me, because I have a lot of different, different styles, different avenues musically. And I'm not the only one, and there's people that got far more than myself. But a person could say to me, Dave, I don't like all that shredding. It sounds like it's noise. I work 60 hours a week. My life is go, busy. When I come home, I just want just subtleness. So they'll say, I like when you do your acoustic music, or this, classical style stuff. The shredding I really don't like. That doesn't bother me. Because I really believe everyone should be entitled to their opinions. And again, what makes a good musician, what makes a virtuoso, really, is can you express emotion at a very high level, meaning you could almost always be on, if that makes sense. We all have our bad days, so and days where we're fighting the flu or the weather, or we just simply forgot, But to me, that's what really is. Yeah, and let's see, Nine Fan David Gilmour is my favorite shredder. He's a great guitar player, you know. There was a, let's see, I think it was in an old Guitar World magazine or Guitar Player magazine, and Joe Satriani was asked about who could shred and who could. I guess what said the caption was "Shred is dead," and let's see, all right, Groovy Girl, you have a great night too, my friend. Thanks for tuning in. Really appreciate it. I appreciate everybody's support and everyone that's subscribed. I got new people that have subscribed to my channel, and I really appreciate it. I will always say this. I do this because I love to play. I'm not better than anybody, and I never will try to make anyone, feel inferior. I really don't believe in that at all. We're all human beings, and we all got something to share and something to say, and you bring the hammer down when it's time to bring the hammer down. Don't become the doormat, because boy, people they love that. But at the same time, you use diplomacy. So I really do appreciate all my subscribers, all of them. That's why a lot of times when people make comments, I do everything with one finger on the phone. I try to put as much as I can on. What's my favorite speed riff? Bumblebest asks. Okay, my favorite speed riff, especially when I'm really in that moment, is something as simple as okay. So, and then I'll move it back and forth, but sometimes just that spot right there. And in this case, it is index, middle, pinky, and then index, third finger, and pinky. It'd be 12, 13, 15, which would be B, C, D, and then 12, 14, 15, which would be E, F sharp, G. Or that type, but in that spot you could get a lot of, really emotion in there. And I'm doing what's called a circular pattern. So you have a circular pattern playing 6 notes. Then you got a circular pattern playing 4 notes, 3 notes on one string, 1 note on the next string. Then you got a circular pattern playing backwards. Yeah, E minor. Now here's a little secret that I do, and to me it's something that feels comfortable for me. Because of all the different styles and different techniques I do. I just don't concentrate on, one dimensional. So when I'm coming up, I'll do something like this. So it's one upstroke, then these series of notes are repeated. Those are repeated as well. I have patterns that I haven't worked on in a while because I want to make sure it's going to fit what I'm going to play. But this is really, this will help strengthen the pinky and your upstroke. It's doing this. Now I haven't done it in a long time, so But I used to be really pretty fast and very clean on my acoustic doing that. And again, what I'm doing here is this is a great workout, very great workout to do because you're training your upstroke and you're training your pinky to be the lead finger. And by making it jump, you're going up the scale, but each pattern you're playing it backwards. So the first part I'm doing like a little sweep or what they call a rake. And then you got this. Something tells me it just dropped off because I just happened to look up and next thing you know it says, you're offline and yeah. See if I could do that again, So see, I gotta work with that because I haven't played it in a long time, but it's a cool sequence. I think I went a little bit too fast for what I can handle like right now. But yeah, when I used to practice that, man, I was super fast with it and accurate. But see, this is what happens, guys, and I'm sure, guys and gals, this happens with everybody. When you start making money with this and, you start getting hired out because you could play these different styles, then you got to kind of focus on that show. And it's so weird because I'll do stuff like that. I'll do my shredding. And then I'll do something like this. So far from shredding. That's our sync. So this slide, this is what you got to really get to get that emotion. And of course, it's everything that you'll hear in your head that's going to evoke a certain emotion for you. And yeah, do you also have a Christmas show? You know what we used to, yeah. The Way We Were. That's it. That's Barbra Streisand. And Jason Wade, how are you? Good evening, my friend. So it's so weird to go from that to stuff like. It's like having almost these different personalities, but it isn't. It's emotion is what it is. We all share the same emotions: sadness, happiness, excitement, gladness. I mean, it's called life. So that is the beauty with music, and that's the beauty with instrumental music. And because I cannot sing to save myself out of a paper bag, man, I got a horrible voice. I don't even like the way I sound when I talk. So everything has to come out here, and really. That is part of years as a kid listening to motion picture soundtrack, instrumental music. My dad used to act, and he used to also have all these albums from all these movies. John Williams. I don't know if John Williams did the music to The Great Escape. It could have been another composer. But he's done Jaws. He's done Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Had the Easy Rider album, but is again rock music, and I love it. I absolutely love it. But there's something that violins and then with classical guitar do. It's a totally different world, It evokes a different emotion. So, if a person would ask me what kind of guitars, for electric guitar, if you only had to buy one, buy the one that's the most versatile, where you get the most sounds out of, that's comfortable for you, that could break the less amount of strings. And Unfortunately for me, this Floyd Rose system seems the one that holds the best with not breaking strings. And some people hate these things, and I'll tell you what. In the beginning, I was not a fan of these things. Oh yeah, Star Wars. That's right. So there's something with instrumental music that just touches that emotion. But okay, so for electric guitar, one that's as versatile as possible, you know. A steel string acoustic, because there's certain things, but definitely a nylon string guitar, because there is a difference in tone between the two, steel and nylon string. There really is. But it depends on your interest. I had a guitar student back in Chicago, Illinois, or in the suburb, Aurora, Naperville. His name was Dean. He loved electric blues. He was a big Stevie Ray Vaughan fan. I think one of his first guitars he actually bought was a American-made Fender Strat, and he had the little Fender Super Champ ×2. And he said, I don't want to learn how to play on an acoustic. People tell me, yeah, you get your fingers strong and that, but I want to learn on the electric. I love the electric. So when I would have people ask me this, and when I started out on an acoustic guitar, but the first guitar I owned was an electric, but I did buy a steel string acoustic with, to strengthen my fingers. But here's the reality. I had an interest in it. If you do not like acoustic guitar music, if you just absolutely hate it, then don't buy one until you feel you want to. If you're at the fork of the road, right? And then it's either buy an acoustic guitar or buy an electric guitar, but I like to rock out, but everyone's telling me I get my fingers strong. You'll get your fingers just as strong on your electric. Maybe not as strong, but you will definitely get them strong and developed. A lot more, and the reason being is because you're going to practice more. There's nothing worse than you buy something you really don't like, but you're doing it because everyone's telling you got to do it. It sits in the closet. I think we had someone like Michael B. Michael B had something up. There's Michael Bishop. How are you? It's good. It's good seeing everyone. Yeah, I love chord, melody, jazz, man. Good, yeah, good music. Yeah. There's a lot of great stuff, man. Oh my God. There's so much that's out there. So much that's out there. It's incredible. That's why music, it's like you never master. You get close to it, mastering a certain skill. But it really takes a lifetime because there's so much that's out there that you're constantly learning. And I remember a guy telling me this back in the 80s saying, man, you got your chops packed down, but you don't get good until at least 20 or 30 years into your playing. And yeah, he wasn't kidding. Because what happens is life experience, latches on. Especially if you're the type of person like me that's never stopped playing. Didn't mean I didn't have to do the day job thing. I never stopped playing. If you're that type of person, you'll see what I mean. Because you're going to grow in life, and all those experiences in life, they stay in your head, and they come out your hands. So that's really what he meant. And I look back at that statement, like, wow, yeah, that guy had a lot to say there, So let's see. Yeah, it's so good. Let's see. If you want a workout, try the live Montreal version. Let's see. Yeah, with. Okay. Oh yeah. Yeah. Gary Moore, and okay, here's another thing. And then the Betancourt went on to play with Rihanna. Wow. Now here's something interesting. I do know Greg Howe. I think he plays or played with Justin Timberlake or one of them. You'd be surprised what goes on when no one's touring. You got downtime. And you're in between albums. Everyone knows that every month there's bills. Nobody's exempt from this. So they'll go and they'll contact other musicians, and if it's Taylor Swift, let's say Taylor Swift, I'm not gonna use it as try not to use it as a punching bag, either Ben Coombs or or Joe Wentz. But if they contact you to sit and do a recording, I think you'll do it. Good experience. It helps your career, because it's something on your resume. And just as a learning curve, it's going to change your perspective. So what you might think is being super boring, maybe at that time, you come back and say, hey, but now it changed my perspective. When I was in this top 40 band, literally, a lot of the stuff I had to do in this band was, um, and what helped me is having what I call the single note, single string chops. In funk music, you'll get a lot of that. So it opens up doors for you. Yeah. It's good to collaborate with a lot of different artists. And there are a lot of times you'll go in the studio and they're not even gonna be there. The tracks are there. Here are Dave. Put the headphones on. Lay down the tracks. I remember getting paid $50 to lay down a 30-second guitar solo, something like that. And it was just on a shoestring budget. And I remember going in there. I've got the Korg AX 1500G or whatever it is, the big silver one. And he says, yeah, lay down like a nice kind of a Santana type of thing, because that's what they wanted. Okay, with a little bit of shredding. And I can't even remember what exactly was I did, because it was so long ago. But then when they did the remixing of it, they ran that through a fuzz phase, and it didn't even sound like my sound. But they were buying it, so okay, do what you want with it, right? But yeah, there's a lot of opportunity. Yeah. Yeah, it's good to collaborate with any artist, famous or not. Absolutely. Bumble Best, you nailed it. You don't have to be famous. It's interesting. I see, and I'm not knocking it, but when I see people value, if you're signed or if you got an endorsement, they value it over craftsmanship. It's kind of like, all right, if you put someone in the Baseball Hall of Fame because he wore yellow or lime green shoelaces, but he can't hit, he can't catch, but you want to put him in the Hall of Fame, it doesn't make any sense, But music is really one of the only industries that they'll do that. And I know it's very opinionated, and if, your music it's more emotion than it is anything else, but I'll tell you what, some of the stuff that they'll value cursing or pushing an envelope really over good talent, and it's sad to see that. It really is sad to see that, but that's just how the industry is. Commercial. Another way to make a music example, Aldo Nova. You know what, I'm glad you said that. Hopefully we're still alive, guys, because it's the clouds are going like this. I'm glad you said that. You've played guitar on rap music before. Okay, I've experiment with that as well. Okay, I have drum machines like a lot of us have. One of the drum machines I got 3 of them. I have the Boss DR5 rhythm section that came out in the early '90s, and there's some stuff that's like house music and hip hop stuff that really does sound good. I've got the DR660 and then the DR880. And they're all going to be loaded with all these different patterns, right? The DR880 is the most recent one with a lot of stuff. And of course, that thing is already, I bought it in 2004, so look how old that is, 14 years old, But there's some interesting stuff that you can do. If you understand rhythm, and it doesn't mean you gotta, I'm not knocking if you understand. I apologize. Anyone recommend a digital drum for demo work? We used to be able to buy drum machines. Now it's a lot. Okay, Nine Phantoms. Can anyone recommend a digital drum for demo work? If you're looking for drum machines, if you're looking for like some pads, because I know Roland has like drum pads. Uh, the best thing to do is YouTube digital drums and drum machines, and listen to demos of them and try to see which one grabs you the most, and then go to the music store and see if they have that, and literally go in there and just experiment. I know there's drummers that hate them, and I don't blame them, because everything's been poor drummers. It's sad. It's sad what's happened with drummers. Drum apps are good too. Yeah, that's right. Sean Murphy. Yeah, drum apps are good. But I think Bumblebass said about laying down, playing along with house music, electronic music, rap music. Reminder, your location may. Okay, yeah, we're experiencing some storms. I just got a notice from Verizon. Okay. Anyways, yeah, experiment with them, because just don't know if a digital drum or a drum app would be best for. Oh, yeah. Now there are YouTube channels where people are putting up drum patterns. Yeah, Sean Murphy's guitar apps suck. It's that's where you have to really experiment. But I do know, if you're looking for more of a true live drum, there are people that are putting up videos and like drum tracks, and it's actually a live drummer. And some of these people are willing to say, all right, you contact me, Facebook, or however you guys connect, and we could work something out. And then that's where they'll start actually writing with you and collaborating with you. But basically, everything with pattern, everything's got rhythm. Even a guitar solo has got a rhythm to it. And I guess maybe I think, I forget who this was, but I did put on their chat about maybe the future of guitar might be, well, you got a lot of kids that are getting interested in rock music. Because I've been around a lot of kids that I heard them say they're just tired of rap, and it's the same old, same old. They're getting burnt out. So now for them, this is sounding really cool to them. So what we might see, and I don't mean rap metal, what we might see is like a fusion, a morphing of what these kids are listening to with rap, that might take it into where, let's add some guitar, let's add this, let's add that to it, where it might open up the doors. Well, even in that style of music, you'll see some guitar solos. Just like what disco started to experience in the late 70s and early 1980s. They're making that transition, because I don't know if you guys remember this, but I remember back in Chicago, in 1979, 1980, and that, you had the t-shirts, rock sucks, and then disco sucks. And then at Comiskey Park, Saks Park in Chicago, Illinois, Steve Dahl, Teenage Radiation, Disco Demolition, they blew up all the disco albums, I mean, it was like a war zone, So the industry says, we gotta, let's see if we can bring this together. And of course, Michael Jackson with Beat It, and Eddie Van Halen. And I know that for the shredders and metalheads, that's not something that you want to hear, because it's not your taste. But at least it'll bring the guitar back in the foregrounds, as far as mainstream. But now mainstream might start to go back down into underground, and YouTube is becoming more and more the mainstream. So it's hard to predict what the future of guitar is going to be. But I think right now we've got a really great platform, because it's like, where else could you go turn something on, a device on, and see a classical guitarist, a shred guitar player, maybe a country banjo player, you know what I mean? Just everywhere. Where back in the day, we didn't have that. You'd have to go either to the clubs that was in the area, or you'd have maybe a few radio stations that would play what would be considered underground music. There was a program called Musical Star Streams on one of the classic rock stations that would play a lot of the new age type of stuff, that in the early days of it was very creative. and then it got boring, you know. So what's nice with YouTube, it gives us this great platform where everyone is it's exploding, and it's at a point where, so what if the backdrop is a cabinet, a mural cabinet, a wall, you know? So what? You know, it's now focusing on the instrument. Say, wow, this is cool. Uh, and I saw a couple of videos with some guy, a few people really getting hard on some of the people that's trolling. And okay, you know, if they're going to be trying to slander your name and that, okay, put your foot down in that. But otherwise, who cares, you know? Because it's not worse than starting a big war on YouTube to the point where it gets shut down, man, you know? And that's the only thing I'm going to say about that. So, yeah, guys, we're living in really exciting times if you think about it, because I would have never known about you if we didn't have YouTube, you know? And I think what it's happening is the YouTubers are becoming the new stars, because we're seeing such great talent. And here's the deal. Talent like this has always been out there. It hasn't been, and maybe as much, because, you know, it wasn't exposed as much. But virtuosos have always been around. What was going on in the 70s, you know, 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s and all that, you had big corporation that would pick and choose who was going to be the next big sensation. And you had really great talent just being shoved aside. You know, that's why I always say, you know, never be a, what do you call it, opportunity growth choker, you know. It all comes back. Karma. I'm a big believer in karma, because I lived it where it wasn't anything that came back like me on bad. It came back on me as good. Real good, you know. Yeah. Now the people choose. Exactly, Nine Phantoms, that's it. You know. Now we get to say what we want to see, what we want to hear, you know? Because really, without the people, there's nothing. Without an audience, there's no show, right? Even though that sometimes these places we play at, some people you know, the live scene is kind of dwindled. When I'm performing live, I just like to envision it's, you know, the Coliseum and it's packed, you know. I could care less if they laugh. I don't care, you know. I guess maybe it's at a point I reach where I can honestly say I don't care, because I can look, and I don't mean in a bad way. What I mean is I'm not going to let what some person thinks bad of me. I could care less, you know. Life moves forward, you know. And as long as you're enjoying it, you'll see. People will catch up. They'll catch on that, on your energy and your love for what you do. Maybe people have a bad day. Who knows, right? Let's see how we're doing here on time. Yeah, YouTube people has one-hit wonders like, yeah, viral videos. Yeah, Bumblebest, you got that right, man. You know, now you pick your nose and you feed the booger to your kid brother or sister, and you're going viral. Oh, it's incredible. No, it's just, I mean, it's just normal. Everyone's done that. Yeah. Yeah, gotta keep your eye on the prize. You gotta. If you are in this because you love this, it's gonna show. It really is. And a lot of you, it shows. Because you could care less if you're making money or not. It's just, I'm very blessed and very fortunate that I can make money with this. And I never take it for granted, you know. What will it take to create the next great rock band with the odds against them? I think what it'll take to make the next great rock band is them and the whole band thinking like this, constantly moving forward. Don't let anything hold you back. Again, I think the number one thing is, do you love, when you pick up your instrument, do you love it? Are you like that little kid that envisions that you're on that big world stage and everyone's going nuts? They love what you're doing. It's trying to capture that emotion. And whether they like you or don't, it's still trying to have that emotion. So when you play, it's like that energy is given right out to them. So they'll think that this is great. I want to be part of this. You know? Even if you have to get a day job. And I think what has happened is that the wall, I call it the mysterious wall that separates us from them from us, you know? let's see. Money is just a nice side effect of doing something I love. Yeah, you're right, Ben Coombs. Absolutely. The only difference, and I had a friend of mine tell me this, the only difference between you and Joe Satriani is that, he's famous and he's got money. But if you have money, let's see. You can't jab. That's right. That's right. Self promotion. So, okay, so we got some good comments here. Yeah, Nine Phantoms. Performing is a high. Can't jab at. Yeah, can't jab a vein for it. Yeah, exactly. It would be maybe the feeling of when you win the lottery. When you play and you're in that moment, you're in that zone, you cannot buy that. That's what you cannot buy. Now, let's see what we got here. So, Old Man Dan says self-promotion and passion are more important now in music than ever. Yeah, it really is. It really is. Because, you see, we all know it takes money to have that breakthrough. And I've had people tell me, and I'm sure you've heard this old saying, it's not what you know, it's who you know. Okay, so now let's get into the question of who are these people you're supposed to know? Well, it's always going to be someone that has money. And what would happen if you won the lottery, the big one, and, after you pay the taxes, you take one big lump sum, and, you pay half of them, a little bit more than a percentage, more than half a percentage, I think it is, into taxes. And let's say you are left with a clean, let's say $175 million. Now you might be up against the other people with money trying to, buy their way in. But, every company, every radio station, every like TV network, they survive with revenue, whether it's ads, it's money. And if you are that person and you got more money than the people you're supposed to know, then you don't even need to know those people. All you gotta do is look in the mirror. You become that person. And let's see. I'm gonna see some of these comments. The 50s wasn't very profitable. It was mostly passion. Yeah, passion-driven people. You're right. Because Deb and I met. We met Bo Diddley in the early 2000s down here in Florida when we were visiting down here. And he had like a one-on-one conversation with Deb and I. And it was great because I was checking out one of the Hughes and Kettner amp, and I didn't know he was giving a clinic. He's talking. I'm like, ooh. I felt bad because I felt like I'm kind of stepping on this guy. And he kept looking over at me. He kind of liked it. And part of when he would look over at me, I was like, okay, dude, I'm trying to have a clinic. And I was trying to watch my volume. So I was like, okay. And at first I really didn't recognize him because he wasn't dressed up with his hat on. And you know what I mean? But then after a while, I'm like, hey, I think that's Bo Diddley. And then after everyone left, he came by us and we were talking. And of course I apologize, for if I was stepping on his feet. I never want to do that. But the stories he told us, how he got robbed with a pencil. Meaning, whatever contract you sign, you're going to make it all right. You're not making anything. The people that's, fronting the show, the ones that are paying for the show, they're the ones that are making it, not you. You're just a little bit above the janitor. But I'm the guy on stage. Yeah, but this is what we're making. And this is what you're going to make. That's why. When you sign a contract, don't sign the first contract. Negotiate. We all know that they need to make money, but there's nothing worse than you sign a contract and this 360 deal, and I might get bashed for this, but I don't care. Dave will never sign you because you're being so negative. I'm not trying to be negative. I just don't want to see good people get suckered. So I would never sign that contract. They could take your name, and now you can't even go the local bar. Dave Byron's gonna play. No, Dave Byron ain't gonna play it. I own that name. I bought that name. That's my money. I bought it. You ain't getting it. Sorry, you ain't gonna be able to do your own show unless I sing. And that's why I draw the line. I'm like, you know what? If that's what it takes to make it, then I don't want to make it. Not like that. Not like where I gotta, be like a little pawn. Now, do I understand that they have to make money? Of course. Lots of sharks in the industry. Oh, yeah. But you do have a lot of good people out there too. You have a lot of good people, and here's the flip side to this coin. That's why I always say have that backup plan. Don't sign the first contract. Negotiate. You know, of course, my wife, she's far more smarter on this than I am. And she could tell you the days when she'd go to the NAMM shows out in Anaheim, California. I don't know how many NAMM shows she's gone to. And after a while, it's like, okay, this is getting like kind of boring. I see the same stars, but I'm in business to sell a product, and I got to sell it to another business that they might maybe perhaps buy. I don't know, maybe, you know. And at $2,500 a pop for a booth back in the late 80s and early 90s, you do the math. And how many times could you afford to go out there to lose money? After a while, you start seeing through the smoke screens of confusion, and when you figure out, wait a minute, you know, I respect these people, and I don't want to be negative, but when I come home at the end of the year and I look what I spent and what I made, what I'm spending on, I'm in the red. I'm losing, you know. So at some point, it becomes like, can you figure out a way that you could put yourself out there, you know? Again, it takes money, but you have to love what you do first and foremost. So you negotiate the contract where they make money and you make money and everything's nice. Because otherwise, man, there's people that sign the contract, the band's ready to roll, and they get shelved. They can't do anything. It's kind of like a union worker going out on a side job, and then here comes the union guys driving around. Ooh, we're going to take your union dues away, or whatever they might do, you know. And everyone still has to survive and make money. So let's see. It's interesting with saying this, and the songs too. That's right. They do that. They'll do that. Hugh Lewis sued Ray Parker, Jr. over a bass line in the 80s. Yeah. I mean, doesn't it sound crazy, guys? What we're experiencing, and twice I had this happen to me about, you know, getting shut down, and then the videos go back up and they get shut down. It is from doing the covers. And the industry's lost a lot of money. But, I mean, Joe Wentz said it best. And I love what he said. You know, we just love to play the music that we love to play. And Joe's not trying to sell himself, doing covers. You know, he's excited. He's a great guitar player. But then he goes and puts something up, and right away they want to shut him down. I'm like, why? You know? They're only going to hurt themselves. The best thing with, and I hope this is not like jumping around, you know, confusing people's minds, but it's all part of the big picture here, if you think about this. The best thing that's happening right now with this, you know, coming down, you can't do this cover song, you can't do that cover song. The best thing that's coming out of this ordeal, it's going to force people to write their own music, and now we're going to have new music out there. And then this might happen, this might not happen, but let's say this does happen. Now all of a sudden, nobody wants to hear those old covers anymore. We got new music, and we got some great stuff. Now all of a sudden, those people that were whining and complaining and belly aching, I don't want you to play my song anymore. Now it says, you know, it's okay if at a birthday party you could play my song. Well, now I don't want to play your song now. You made it impossible. And that's fine. I respect that's your song. That's fine. But I'm going this way. I guess what I'm saying, it takes a lot for a person to put themselves in the driver's seat and take that chance with the odds against you and going up against an industry that's got, you know, such a tight grip on everybody. But I think what happens with this platform, and I heard someone say it best at one of the conventions we were at, the music industry, they did not embrace the internet, and this is what hit them. And now, because they did not embrace the internet, now everyone's just coming out of the woodwork. And what they say, their strength in numbers, they were not expecting this type of a wave. This many people, you know, putting videos up of them playing, whether it's a cover song, whether it's their originals, and just saying, you know what, I don't care if I get signed. I'm taking my music out to the people. Let them decide. It really hurt them. Question, if you do a cover on YouTube and you get hit with, let's see. Oh, sorry guys, sorry. I hit something on me. And you hit with copyright monetaries, and shouldn't you also be able to claim copyright on the cover for your performance rights. You know, that's something I'm not too sure of, but I do know there is a thing called performance rights. And a lot of us that remember the jukebox, you put the quarter in or whatever, you get like 3 songs. That money was so you could actually play that song at that facility. Uh, yeah, get an entertainment lawyer. Yeah, yeah. There are some good entertainment lawyers out there just to get your portion of the monetary. Yeah, Nine Phantoms. You know, honestly, I'm not too sure about that because everything. You know what seems like everything is in a transitional state right now, because they're trying to figure out how are we going to recoup the losses. And as time is going by, there's new methods of pirating. You know, this whole thing started when people were doing samples, music samples. The next thing you know, you got you got something like can't touch this. Well, sorry, that's actually Super Freak, you know? And it's when people were actually, I mean, you could tell they were taking the guitar recordings and just putting it all together, and it's the actual tone of that song. I forget who did that was doing that, but they took part of, I think it was an Eagles song and part of something else, and you could, and it's 2 totally different songs to the point where you could hear the difference in the tone. It's like, you know, at some point, could you learn how to play an instrument and do something yourself, you know? Oh, very interesting. Bumble Best has got something very interesting. No, sorry, guys. You know, my phone is like, my skills with these things is just like if you cut someone else's song on your album. Yep. Is playing covers an educational right if it's lessons? And Vanilla Ice did Under Pressure. Yeah, he did. He did Under Pressure. So, to answer your question, Bumble Best, you know, I have a book when I was teaching that I would use, and it would be like almost in the style of, because the publisher said, all right, I want to teach these kids, or the guitar, you know, the instruction was like, I want to teach these kids how to play power chords, and let's say we're going to take A, we're going to take G, we're going to take G flat, and we're going to take F. And I want to add rhythm to this. Now, I want you to hear this too, because you got, I forget the name of the band, but you'll hear. It was this. Okay. Why can't I not remember the band? I mean, they're just, you know. Oh, God. I'm sorry about that, guys. Amanda Coombs, how are you? Hey, how's everything going? Yep. Folding laundry. I've folded laundry today, too. I got some more I got to do. So it's the same band that did Broken Dreams on the Boulevard, whatever the hell it is, you know. So it's this song. Green Day. Thanks, Amanda. It's the exact same chord progression as Chicago's 25 or 6 to 4. Same thing with this. You Give Love a Bad Name. Belinda Carlisle had a song called Heaven on Earth. Was using the exact same chord progression. So there was so much of this going on. I mean, it was just like people were pulling their hair out of their head. They could not get a handle on this, so they started bringing, for lessons, guitar lessons, there was more and more of these books saying in the style of, because they were afraid to get sued by this person, sued by that person. And you know what? I met Greg Koch at Brookdale Music in Naperville, Illinois. This is quite some years ago, in the, I'm going to say mid-2000s. And what happened was I had a one-on-one conversation with him, because he was there representing Hal Leonard publication. And I did tell him in one of the books the D major chord, and it was not a key signature or at the beginning of the staff of the music. We're going to go in E flat. Nothing. Absolutely no symbology of key changes or anything like that. The D major was on the first and second fret. And of course, I knew that was wrong. And of course, when you listen to the song, it was wrong. And Greg told me, he says, yeah, but the problem is they do not have enough proofreaders. They're pumping all this music out and they don't have enough proofreaders. So what's happening is that you have all these cover songs that's coming out left and right, and you only have so much people that are representing BMI, ASCAP, and this other organization, and there's only so much they could do. But at the same time, it's just a matter of time, little by little by little by little, they'll be able to catch up with you. My vocalist, Mike, said for the karaoke, I guess it happened, I don't know how long ago this happened, before we moved down here, I guess this happened. Somewhere down here in either Fort Myers or in Cape Coral, they were doing a karaoke, and a guy came in and asked for the performance rights and said, don't have them, you shut everything down. They said the guy even started taking the equipment from the guy. Now see, that's where you cross the line, because if I paid money for that gear, it cannot touch the gear. They technically cannot touch the tapes or CDs that I bought, because I personally bought that. That's hardware I bought. But they can slap me with a fine on playing copywritten music in a public facility, and I'm not paying the rights for that. And I know this sounds like bizarre and crazy and stupid, because it really is only rock and roll. With the Rolling Stones says it's only rock and roll, but I like it. But you know what, guys? It really is only rock and roll. It's not brain surgery. It's a want, it's not a need. But because there's so much money invested in this, and everybody's been wanting to be a superstar, it's fun. Let's face it, it's nothing like, it's a great feeling to be able to play and to be able to perform. But then you got these people running around. And doesn't it sound crazy? But again, the catch-22 on this is, you ask any creative music, anyone that would prefer to do their music, and they'll say, these are the best times, because now it's going to force people to write their own music, and the people at the bar, they have to say, you know what, I've been eating peanut butter and jelly for the last 3 years, and maybe there's a thing out there called spaghetti. You know what I mean? So why don't we kind of change a little bit and kind of be open-minded and let someone come in and they might like it. You ask a person, and I'm sure like Ben, this might have happened to you, and anyone else that's played in any type of band, even if it's a cover band, you go out there to play and here comes the request. And then you sit down in the debate stage, or afterwards, talk with that person. And I've done this. I said, listen, what made you like that song? If that's your favorite song, or I had this happen to me, play something I know. Okay, well, let's play something that you know. Freebird. Okay, let's play Freebird. And then I'll ask them, okay, let me ask you this question. Before you heard Freebird, what made you like that song? Because at that moment in time, you cannot say, I like that song because I know it, because that's the first time you're hearing it. So what made you like that song? Chances are they're going to say, oh, I don't know. And maybe it's the way it sounds. Oh, the rhythm. Oh, yeah, it's the rhythm. I hope this is not going on too much of a tangent, guys. Point I'm making is that when you write music, it's gonna reflect on your influences. So, but if it sounds good and other people are liking it, maybe that is the doorway we need to get people to say, hey, Ben Coombs band, I want to see, Ben, play your originals. The hell with the covers. I want to hear what you got, because dude, I think you're a great guitarist. Joe Wentz, I love what you're doing. Come on out and play. I want to see you play, man. That's a great song you got, and Joe's got some great originals. That's why I like it's going on everywhere. And we're back, guys. Sorry. Well, I'm not dead. But I think what's going to happen is that when people start taking that chance and playing their music, people really are starving for it. As long as you sound good, that's the key. And you know what, guys? Playing something's very melodically strong, it grabs a person. Let's see. Ben's got a comment here. Only music I've written that people have heard is a chorus to one song. Yeah. Start ripping off classical or standard music. Yeah, you know what? Here's the deal. There are music that's in the public domain sector. A lot of the old classical pieces, some of the Baroque pieces, some of the Bach pieces are getting tough. Some of the Vivaldi pieces are getting kind of tough. You can even go back and if buy like a Renaissance book, a lot of that. J.J. House of Jams. What's happening, my friends? You know why sometimes I don't get the pinch harmonics too good? I mean, and I know how to do them. You know, it sounds like there's a lot of excuse me, a lot of gain. But what I do, I boost my mids because when I'm doing fast scale runs, I want the notes to really like pop out, not just be sunk in saturation. So that's why. And then when I'm playing live, sometimes get caught in a moment and you're running around and just getting into it. And that's how you could tell. That's how you could tell if a person really is playing live, because certain things you won't hear. If it sounds always boost the mids. Exactly, Ben. Yeah. The problem, let's see, the old Dan's got a comment here. The problem is all music used to get, let's see. Sorry about that, guys. Let's see, all music used to get placed into public domain after a certain number of years. Then publishers and lawyers, yep, will get involved and screw it all up. Exactly. I am very surprised that my neighbors haven't called me. Sorry, that's 9 Phantoms. Well, if you like the Wall of Sound, yeah. Hey, Amanda. Hey, Ben. Hey, yeah, Bumble Best. Yeah, JJ House of Jams. You rock, my friend. And I tell you what, I liked, and I thank all you guys for sharing the information about how Yamaha bought Line 6. And yeah, I play loud. Yeah, 9 Phantoms. I got a good volume here, not really too loud, but I used to crank it, man. Yeah, crank it like real loud. And I'm surprised I'm not deaf, although my wife says otherwise. Off Taco Pizza Hut's Hershey brownies is so good. Yeah. Hey, Jason Wade. One of the big things down here in Florida is Pizza Hut. But now there is a place called Chicago Style Pizza that we have down here that I will say is pretty damn close to it, being from Chicago. Exactly. Yeah. Taco Bell's Cannon and yep gets used so much. Yes, Bumble Best, you're right. I mean, old Dan. I'm sorry, old man Dan. You're right. Those little 15-watt Fender amps, those tube amps, they're loud. What was it? Shane from In the Blues, him and Dr. Rick, they were cranking up. They cranked up the Fender Twin, and I used to have I had a silver face Twin with the master volume that would pull out, and had 2 Altec Lansing speakers. That was 100 watts. That sucker was loud. But the original Twins were rated at 85 watts, and they're loud 85 watts. But they did crank up the Fender Bassman. I believe it was the Bassman amp that they cranked up, and wow, is it loud. Heavy, but very, very, very loud. But yeah, you can only go so loud, and then next thing you know, now use racks. Yeah, I'll tell you what, those old Marshalls were loud too. I had a Super Lead Series 100 212. Let's see, I had that 1981, the summer of 81, 82, around that time frame, and it was loud, man. Didn't realize what I had back then. It was like, I guess it would be the Plexi put in the 212 cab model, because it was not the Blues Breaker. It was called the Super Lead Series 100. And I could find just, I don't think I found only maybe one video on it, and then I can't find it anywhere else. And boy, was I stupid getting rid of that. But you're young and stupid. But JJ House of Jams, he was demoing that Line 6 Helix, and I'll tell you what, man. At first, I guess I wouldn't say I wasn't a big fan of it, because some of the Line 6 products, like the 212 combo, you turn the volume, you just touch it, and wow, it spikes up all over the place. And then the price comparison. But then I listened to a little bit of playback with JJ, just a little bit of what he was doing with it, and wow, did it sound. I had my headphones on too, and it sounded incredible. And then, knowing that Yamaha got involved, and Yamaha, I'll tell you what, whether you like them or not, they are a huge corporation. And that's another company that never goes anywhere. Yes, it's interesting. There's only a few people. Yeah, 9 Phantoms, you're very well aware of that. Super leads are nice. Now let's see in some of the comments here, guys. Sorry about that. Valve amps are louder than solid. Oh yeah, or digital, big time, big time. And let's see. I sold all my Marshalls off for use for racks. Yeah. Well, see, back in the day, I don't know if you guys remember, everyone was going to rack mounts, and they said, forget about the pedals. Now the pedals are back. It's always back and forth. Let's see. I have a Black Star HT5, and that is fine for hard rock and metal, but has no. Yeah, compared to the Fenders, yeah, that's just it. Just all the. Oh yeah. Go ahead and crank it up, Ben Coombs. Go ahead and crank up your amp, and let's see what it says, man. Let's see. Ace Frehley used super leads in the 70s. Yeah. A guy told me that he's big on Marshall amps and the history and everything. He told me now that amp's worth $5,000 or more. But see, when you're a kid, you don't think time moves on and this stuff goes away. You know what I mean? You don't. There's vintage. You don't really think. Of course, now I do. Oh yeah. You almost bought a 18-watt blues breaker. Talk about loud. Yeah. Dave, you should join the Helix family of products. Yeah, you know what? I'll tell you what, JJ. I'm really thinking about that. Because of just the way the thing sounds is incredible. And of course now with this platform, like I said, let's see, just join the Helix family of products users group on Facebook. You will see and be able to interact with a lot of people. Yeah, that's right. We use the Helix from live bars to stadiums. Yeah, that's great, JJ. Thanks for that information, man. Thanks a lot for that information. You know what? Is that what you're using live? No. I'll be... Good. Ben, do that. Check your stage volume and report to us. I want to see what that comes out with. No, to answer your question, what I am using, 9 Phantoms, believe it or not, is a simple Digitech RP 360 XP. The output, I have it set for, you can even have it set for amplifier or for mixer. I have it set for mixer. And because I go into the power PA speakers, and I know, JJ, that the Helix is going to be phenomenal with that. I'm going to show you what that'll sound like if I switch the output setting. Okay, sorry guys. What would happen? Setting to amp. It has a lot more hits. Yeah, I believe that, JJ. Yeah. So here it is, amp setting. You get a lot of hits. Oh, wait a minute, sorry. See that? It kind of smooths it out. Because when you run this through a PA, it's always the distortion. Will clip a lot. And it does something with the tweeters and the horns that makes it sound, kind of horrible. Yeah, JJ is definitely using the Helix. And I saw a video, a demo you did on that, JJ, and I had, like I said, I had my headphones on, and it was just this massive punch, man. It's absolutely killer. It is absolutely killer. Uh, it's mind blowing. Yeah. And the thing is a lot more and more people are using this thing because of its convenience and because it's engineered. And that now that explains, because the people at Yamaha, since they bought Line 6, it's really like their technology, their engineers probably collaborating with Line 6 engineers and that, and you know that explains that. But I really hope that the Helix does have a bass pattern because if you were in a room with me, you'd actually feel that low end, bottom end. It really is. And the speakers that's in this Roland are 6-inch speakers. I got 4 6-inch speakers in this thing, so you would actually really feel that bottom end. Plus the convenience of the drum patterns in here. But there's certain things that this Digitech, when that will have that I'm not really happy with, as far as the Fender sound. You get this great clean sound, right? The tube screamer settings, they're lower in volume. They don't really kind of jump out, and I got everything maxed out, and it's just, you know, it's like it's just the way it is, you know. Well, I think on that line, on that Helix, you could really get in there and just, man, work your sound. And the panel, the in and outs on that thing is just great. So yeah, I'm definitely looking into that, and kind of baby it when I do some of the gigs, or I've got other effect units I would use in certain outdoor gigs, and just maybe keep that for like studio. Because I mean, that is pricey, $1,500, but I mean, it's worth it. It is absolutely worth what I heard you do with it, JJ. Yeah, it's absolutely worth it. But to do a lot of gigs with it, like down here, it's bad enough. We bought 4 more of these Jam Man stereo loop pedals, because of all the looping pedals I've used, these things really work the best. That's why I could do things hands-free with my backing tracks and then create live loops, right on the fly. So I always have a backup if something happens, Now watching won't be necessary because Helix is going to come out. Yeah. I'll do another video with a bunch of different tones and download. Yeah, JJ, thanks, man. That's really cool. Helix is for guitar or bass, or run both at the same time through different paths. Yeah, see, that's what's really cool. I'm just wondering, JJ, if it has an octave divider in it that really is almost like a sub-low octave. So if you had to, on your guitar, on the fly, lay down a bass track, you could probably do that. Oh, let's see. Yeah, let's see what we got here. I sold my Marshalls because that last gig I did, they mic'd my amp and wouldn't. Let's see. Yeah, 9 Phantoms, this is what's going on. They suffer from direct sunlight, okay. But they sell, okay. Oh, a sun cover for it. Okay, that's good to know. That is real good to know, because I know it's got that nice big screen. Plus, they'll probably have something that you could almost like put over the entire unit. But yeah, the thing it's built like a tank, man. It's just there really is nothing out there like it. I know Fractal makes good systems. 11 Rack makes good stuff. Kemper. There's a couple of other. But the Helix really, after hearing that, yeah. A baby plexi at class 5, yeah. in reality, you'll be able to tell the difference when you get them like bam right there, you know. But for convenience, yeah. And then of course with the fly rigs, you know, to me, like this is a fly rig, you know. The Helix, it's what they call the fly rig. Even though I know some are like smaller, which is great. Um, when we did our gigs and we'd have to fly over to Europe, I'd take my pedals and put them in a gig bag. And at the time, I was able to slide the gig bag underneath the seat in front of me, have the guitar in a nice padded gig bag, and put it in the overhead compartment. Because I don't trust those people throwing my stuff around. You know, they'll say they got all the insurance in the world. Then you get to the gig, and then it's 5 minutes, and you still don't have your stuff. You know, you're screwed then. I miss general admission and Amps Crank 211. Yeah, 9 Phantoms. It is a such different world we live in. It really is. DJs make more money than live musicians. DJs get a stage, live musicians don't. And I got some videos. I'm going to be doing a series of videos where I'm actually going out, talking with owners to score a gig. Now, we still have our gigs, but I want people to see what's going on out there. So when I say it's good to have a backup system, even if your backup system is a day job or a part-time job, whether it's in music or whether it's not, because you still have bills to pay. Because the notion that you will always be making money with music no matter what, you have to look at reality, and you have to be prepared when your popularity goes down. And it happens to everybody, you know. Now what do? The party is never going to end. Well, the party does end. And, you know, and I'm not trying to be negative or a downer. It's just to prepare people for, always have that backup system so that now you could financially float your boat with this, you know. That's why I say if a person has an eye on a certain venue they really want to play at, and they're having a hard time with either a manager or a booking agent, you know, go right to that owner and ask him, hey, how much does it cost to rent out this place? You know, that becomes the pay to play. But my point is, if it's a place you really want to play, you want to do your videotaping, you want to spotlight it, it's a venue you've always wanted to play, you know, when you have money, you know, old saying, money talks and BS walks, and, you know, you have more of a sure chance of getting that gig. You know, whether you come out even or you come down and you lose a little money, that, you know, that does happen. But you will be much more guaranteed to play there. And I'm not saying that don't go and ask the people to, you know, keep going and, you know, trying to get the gig. But if it's like one no after another no after another no, and it's the place you really do want to play at, and you have a certain time frame, then just rent it out, man. You know, and I mean, you bring your sound system, your lights, it's your show, and you know, you respect the place. You don't tear the place up, but you respect it. But at that moment in time, that's your show. No one can tell you anything. You know, and they'll try, but then, you know, he who has in business, he who has the gold makes the rules. The golden rule. A lot of things that sound as good, but let's see. But they don't have the routing that Helix offers. Yeah, that's right. That's why Metallica moved from the Axe effects to Helix. You know, that's interesting. That's real interesting. Yeah, Red Rocks. We've been over there. And I talked with the sound guy. Of course, the sound... Well, actually, it was two different sound guys I talked to. Let's see. Sorry about this, guys. And Phantoms, me too. If I rent it and seats are empty, laugh out. Yeah. We were there last year, 2017, July, before we relocated down here. And we were doing a wedding gig at Estes Park, that beautiful hotel. And then our friends live in Littleton, Colorado, and then we went to Red Rocks, and of course I had my guitar with me, and then I literally stand, like, you know, you got the grandstands, then you got that walkway, then another grandstands. I stood right there with my Breedlove acoustic, with that, I have a sound hole cover, And as I'm playing, you could hear it resonate through the whole area. It's incredible. But I was talking, and of course, the sound guy was like, "Wow, you sound really good." And I said, "Oh, thanks, man." And I started talking to him about getting the gig there. One guy was like, "Oh no, you can't this and you can't." And I'm like, "Oh, BS, man." I said, "Let me tell you something. If they tell me it costs, let's say, 15 grand to do a 2 hour show on an off day, and if I had 15 grand, you jump and you take it. Don't when people say these things because they want to, I don't know who you are or I know someone more than you. You whip out that cash, that all mouths become clam shut. You know what I mean? And then they look at the cash and they say, "Oh, this guy means business. Job is done." You know. And it's sad that it has to be that way. Yeah, that's exactly how it is. So when I see these people, I seen this thing on Craigslist, and literally, whoever it was that's got the 9 or 4 myths about breaking into the music industry, okay? And one of them is myth number 1: you have to have a non-related music job to get in the music industry, okay? Well, it doesn't have to be non-related. It could be music related, but here's the thing. So how many of you work at a music store and you have good days and you have bad days? Can you afford just your income alone? And let's say you have a nice, good lifestyle, and let's say you have a house that is, let's say $500,000, or let's say $200,000. Let's make it simple. Your house is $200,000. You have a mortgage of, let's say, $1,100, and let's say your property taxes are, let's say, another $6,000, right? Okay, that's just to live. Now you still have groceries, you have maintenance, you have your car insurance, you have gas. So let's say your monthly amount of money that you need to do everything you need to do a month is, let's say, $5,000 to $6,000, and that's to be modest about it. Okay, can you work in a guitar center alone? Afford all of that? Because the proof is always in the pudding. So if not, then that means you get a job that's not music related. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. You gotta live, you gotta survive. When I see these ridiculous statements, and I'm not saying that people cannot make this kind of money, because we've been there where we've made we've made a lot of money. And then we've had, a few months we've been down, and then back up, and then down, and then back up. But when we had our construction company, my wife said we were able to forecast a year out, and we knew we were getting that money, guaranteed, because we had that many contracts already in progress, already signed. You know what I mean? So when I see these statements, that is advice trying to tell people, I'm not saying never try this with music. Don't, you'll never get to make it. No. You do what you need to do. It's an exciting moment. So if you get signed, if you get discovered, if you get an endorsement deal, it's exciting. But always keep in the back of your mind that something could happen where that company runs out of money. Not that they're jerks and they're sharks. They simply run out of money. And then you just went and quit your day job that, let's say your day job, you were making $70,000 a year. And now you were able to afford all this stuff and able to afford your music. Now you quit it because someone said, "Guess what? We got you signed." Or we signed you, and next thing you know, you're shelved and you can't do anything. Or guess what? We just ran out of money. And then you go back to your day job and they tell you, "I'm sorry, but we just replaced your position because we needed, we could see about getting you back." And you have this huge gap of downtime. And when all the bills start piling up, see, no one ever talks about this. No one ever says this. Hey guys, keep this in mind that this could happen. Everything is like you're going to win all the time. That's not reality. So when I see this on Craigslist, I'm like, this person, who's going to come out smelling like a rose? The person that's charging people to sign up for their BS session. And I call it a BS session because people who are legit, they will always sit you down and say, "Listen, this is what I could do for you. Keep in mind this could happen. because I want to be fair, because I don't want to see you quit your job or something. They'll always lay the cards out on the table for you so that you can make rational decisions. But the sneaky people, they will um, always kind of go off of your vulnerability, and it's one success story after another success story, but you don't hear the hardships. You don't hear when the people said, I did everything that this guy told me to do. I bought the gear he said. I read all the magazines. I took the courses. I've subscribed to this. I was involved in that organization. And the only thing I got in the end was this huge bill. And now I got to put my stuff in the pawn shop because I'm behind in my bills. You know? These things happen. Because no one ever says the market's saturated. And I'm not trying to be a downer on people, or to be discouraging. But wow, when I see stuff that I see, it's like, of course someone's going to tell you give them X amount of dollars, and they say, this happened to a friend of mine. He gave this lady $3,000. And she was going to represent him. She was going to be a publisher. She was going to be a booking agent. She was going to be, she's everything. The hair designer, the publisher, she cuts your toenails, she'll give you the gig, everything. But she's a con artist. She's taking your money and then doing whatever she's doing with it. And then there was time that went by and my friend says, hey, I'm writing this music, I'm putting this together. And he was a solo artist doing with tracks and looping. So I think it was like a month or two went by and he's not seeing, the phone's not ringing. And he's getting his own gigs by himself. And, where is the publicist, the booking agent, this, that? I gave her $3,000. I gave her money to do a job. She's not doing it. I'm doing it. He contacts us and he says, about 3 months later, or enough time elapsed, she contacts him and says, oh no, you cannot do this as a solo and that you have to have a band. So he puts a band together. And in that process, he's trying to scramble to get this done as quick as possible because he's losing money, he's losing time. And he got some kids that are younger than him and they're schooled musicians, but they had no experience. And some of them were hard to get along with. So you know what that's like. You got a band together and this person does not want to sing like this. I don't like the color blue, I like the color red, and all this other crap. So it's more downtime. And he tells me, Dave, you know what? I talked to this lady, and she said to me, there's no one out there making money as a soloist. And I says, my friend Dave Byron is, and he's getting gigs. So why can't you get the gig? No one's going to do that. No one's going to be able to accept it. No one wants that. And I said to him, I'm making money doing this, and you're going to get some people to like you, and some people are not. But the fact is, I'm getting the gigs. I'm getting work. So for this person to tell you that no one is going to give you work, no one's going to hire you, I said, there's something not right here. So finally he found out that she's a scam, and he's still trying to recoup some of his money. He got so discouraged he went back into doing his painting and his art, and he's making money with that. But you see what happens? $3,000. You know what? You won't even get 3 pennies out of me. Let's see the results first. Let's hear. I want to hear all the stories, even the stories of the unsuccessful stories, so I can evaluate in my mind, giving a person my hard-earned money, before they say, yes, I'm going to make you a star. You ain't going to make anybody a star. I'm sure it's a redundant conversation. Yeah, like we've said before, Dave, getting a gig was rarely yeah, it was, man. It's about hard work and planning and pulling, and yeah, always was and will be. Yeah, if you can do the gigs exactly. Yep, I agree, JJ. Create opportunities. See, that's it. That's it, JJ. Create the opportunity. Put yourself in that driver's seat. I know it's tough. It is. Oh, Foulfish, how are you, my friend? Rock and roll, buddy. Yeah, I don't like to say this because I'm don't like say anything bad about what a person believes in. People are they're more than welcome to believe and what they believe in. And if that method works for them, God bless them. Keep going forward. But it's not being negative, having in the back of your mind that this train ride could fall off the tracks. It is not being negative, it's being realistic. Because there is nothing worse than when people, the music industry, it's so cutthroat, as we know, and it's so unstable. You know, my wife said that when she had one of her business classes, her professor said, like, the restaurant business is got like one of the top rate of failure is the restaurant and club business. You know. Okay, yeah. Sorry, guys. I'm gonna go on just for another about 5 minutes here because I've been having issues with our weather and that. But when I say, you know, have that backup plan, it really is just from firsthand experience. We've had ups where we were able to quit our jobs and go full time with the music, and we've done it for quite a few years. And we had where we were able to go cross country, do our road. I call them road shows because when you're on a tour, you're out X amount of days. But I know what that life, I know what that is. It's very expensive. And the best way to get around it is don't spend the money if you don't have to. Make the money out there. And then we had situations where, you know, work part-time jobs to supplement the income because it's a saturated market, and that's the reality. And there's nothing worse than people, they want it so bad that they believe that they're going to force it to happen, and you can't force it to happen, you know. And it doesn't mean that you failed. It means that you saw the big picture. Because there's nothing worse, especially when a person's got a family and they say, well, I'm going to make it because, you know, I bought a tarot card or I've read this in my horoscope. And fool's gold, you know. Reality is reality. But, you know, again, enough on the negativity. But we keep on freezing up. So, anyways, guys, thank you so much for joining. And thank you so much for your support. And JJ House of Jams, thank you so much for the information, because you got a lot. You got a lot of experience. And Ben Coombs, you got a whole lifetime of experience. You know, with you being, you know, living with your dad doing. You've been around music your whole life, and it's a great. There's so many people out there that got experiences. It's great to share, and we really appreciate your support on this platform, YouTube. We got, man. I hope and pray it never goes away, because it really is the future of our industry. And Amanda Coombs, thank you so much. You have a great night. You guys totally rock. Totally rock. Mr. Joe Wentz, you have a great night out there. JJ House of Jams, you rock. You rock, my friend. Bumble Bess, Ben Coombs, have a great night, guys. And like Ben says, keep the Jason Wade, rock and roll. Keep the doors of opportunity open. Hold them open for people, because karma really does exist. You know, always desire to inspire, keep things real. And we will see you on our Saturday afternoon. Maybe Shred Saturday, my friends. Until Saturday, my friends, you have a great evening. God bless you. Rock and roll. And we'll see you later. Take care now. Good night, guys.